There was a time when I honestly wondered if I would ever find the person I was meant to meet. Not because I stopped believing in love, but because life has a strange way of making you question what you thought you understood. You go through disappointments. You meet people who teach you lessons. You trust someone, and sometimes that trust gets broken. You give your heart, and sometimes you walk away carrying pieces of it you don't know how to put back together. And after enough of those experiences, you start asking yourself, maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe the person I'm looking for doesn't exist. Maybe I should simply stop searching. But then you appeared. And suddenly, I started looking at everything differently. I realized that maybe all those difficult moments weren't proof that love wasn't meant for me. Maybe they were preparing me to recognize something real when it finally arrived. Maybe every wrong turn taught me something I needed to know. Every goodbye showed me what I could no longer accept. Every disappointment made me understand the value of honesty, loyalty, patience, and genuine connection. I used to think finding someone was about luck. Two people meeting at the right place, at the right time, under the perfect circumstances. Now, I think it's deeper than that. Sometimes, you can spend years moving through life without realizing that every experience is shaping you for one particular moment. You become stronger. You become wiser. You learn what matters. You stop chasing appearances and start looking for character. You stop asking, who makes me feel excited? And start asking, who makes me feel understood? And when I found you, something inside me became quiet. Not because life suddenly became perfect. Not because all my problems disappeared. But because for the first time, I felt like I didn't have to keep searching for something I couldn't explain. You felt different. There was something about your presence that didn't demand that I become someone else. I didn't have to create an impressive version of myself just to deserve your attention. I could simply be honest. I could speak about my dreams, my fears, my failures, and the things I was still trying to figure out. And somehow, you made those imperfections feel less frightening. That is when I understood something important. Sometimes, the greatest gift isn't finding someone who completes every missing piece of your life. It's finding someone who makes you want to build a better life with the pieces you already have. You didn't erase my past. You gave my past a new meaning. The struggles still happened. The heartbreaks still happened. The lonely nights still happened. But now I can look back and understand that they were chapters, not the entire story. And maybe that's what I want you to understand if you've ever felt like you were waiting too long for someone special. Don't let your past convince you that your future will look exactly the same. Just because someone failed to appreciate your heart doesn't mean your heart was the problem. Just because one relationship ended doesn't mean love has ended for you. Just because you had to walk away from someone doesn't mean you are walking away from your chance at happiness. Sometimes, you have to lose what was never right so you can recognize what finally is. And when I say, I finally found you, I don't simply mean I found a person. I mean I found peace where I expected uncertainty. I found honesty where I had learned to be cautious. I found hope where I had almost accepted disappointment as normal. I found someone who made me believe that the future could be something worth building. So if you ask me what I think about everything I went through before you, I wouldn't erase it, because every step brought me here. Every lesson prepared me. Every ending moved me closer to this beginning. And now that I finally found you, I don't want to spend my time wondering what could have been. I want to spend it building everything that still can be. Because after everything life put me through, finding you didn't just change my present. It gave every painful chapter of my past a reason to lead me here. For a long time, there was a question inside me that I couldn't really explain. I couldn't put it into a sentence. I couldn't point to one specific thing and say, this is what I've been missing. I could have described my goals, my ambitions, the things I wanted to accomplish, and the future I imagined for myself. But underneath all of that, there was still this quiet feeling that something was incomplete. And then you came into my life. That's when I started understanding the question. It wasn't that I needed someone to rescue me. It wasn't that I needed another person to make my life meaningful. I had dreams before you. I had plans before you. I had responsibilities, challenges, and things I wanted to accomplish. But somehow, I had never experienced what it felt like to have someone who could make the journey itself feel different. You did that without even trying. You didn't arrive with some grand announcement that you were going to change my life. You simply became part of it. A conversation here, a moment there, a smile, a little understanding, a feeling that somehow grew stronger before I even realized what was happening. And eventually, I found myself thinking about you in ways I couldn't explain. I started realizing that some people enter your life and create noise, while others enter your life and create clarity. You created clarity. With you, I began to understand that love isn't always about fireworks or dramatic moments. Sometimes love is the quiet certainty that appears when you realize you can trust someone. It's the comfort of knowing you can talk without being judged. It's the feeling that you don't have to constantly prove your worth. And maybe that was the question I had been carrying all along. Not, who will love me, but who will make love feel safe enough for me to be completely myself? Then I met you. And suddenly so many things made sense. I understood why some previous connections never felt right. I understood why certain relationships had to end. I understood why I had spent so much time questioning what I truly wanted. I had been searching for something I couldn't define because I had never experienced it before. You gave that feeling a name. You became the answer without ever knowing there was a question. And that is what makes your presence so powerful to me. You didn't just become someone I care about. You became someone who helped me understand myself better. You showed me that the right person doesn't necessarily make life easier. Sometimes they make you stronger. They challenge you to communicate better. They encourage you to become more honest. They make you think about the future in a completely different way. Suddenly, it isn't just about what I want to accomplish. It becomes about what we can build. That shift changes everything. Because when you genuinely care about someone, you stop thinking only about the destination. You start thinking about the journey. You begin imagining ordinary mornings, difficult conversations, unexpected challenges, celebrations, failures, victories, and all those small moments that nobody else will ever see. And somehow, even the difficult parts feel worth facing when you know who you're facing them with. That's what you feel like to me. You feel like the missing context in a story I had been trying to understand. You feel like the answer to something my heart knew long before my mind could explain it. And I don't want to take that for granted, because finding someone who makes you feel understood is rare. Finding someone you can trust is rare. Finding someone who makes you want to become better while still accepting who you are today, that is even rarer. So when I look at you, I don't see perfection. I see something much more valuable. I see someone real. Someone whose presence makes me want to protect what we have, nurture it, and give it the time and honesty it deserves. Maybe I spent years searching for an answer without realizing the answer wasn't a destination, a success, or an achievement. Maybe the answer was a person. Maybe it was you. And now that I finally understand the question, I understand something even more important. I wasn't searching for someone to complete my life. I was searching for someone who would make me want to build the rest of it with them. And maybe that is the most beautiful thing I've discovered since finding you. I wasn't looking for perfection. I was looking for something real. Because perfection sounds impressive, but real is what actually lasts. I don't need someone who always says the right thing, always knows what to do, or never makes mistakes. I don't need a person who walks through life pretending everything is easy. I want someone who can be honest when things are difficult, someone who can admit when they're wrong, someone who can laugh at themselves, express what they feel, and still choose love when life becomes complicated. And that's what I see in you. I see a real person, someone with dreams, fears, strengths, weaknesses, hopes, insecurities, and a heart that has probably been through things I may never fully understand. And instead of making me want to run from those imperfections, they make me want to understand you more deeply. Because the truth is, nobody comes into a relationship without a past. We all carry experiences. We carry memories. We carry lessons from people who stayed and people who left. Sometimes those experiences make us more careful. Sometimes they make us afraid to trust again. Sometimes they create walls that we don't even realize we've built. But real love doesn't demand that those walls disappear overnight. Real love says, take your time. I'm here. That matters to me. Because I don't want a relationship built on pretending. I don't want us to spend our lives trying to convince each other that everything is perfect. I want us to be able to look at each other and say, this is who I am. These are the things I'm still working on. These are the places where I need to grow. And then answer, I still choose you. That kind of love is powerful. It's easy to love someone when everything is exciting. It's easy to say beautiful words when there are no problems. But the real test comes when life becomes inconvenient, when communication becomes difficult, when expectations don't match, when one person is tired and the other needs support, when plans change, when the future becomes uncertain. That is where real love becomes more than emotion. It becomes character, it becomes patience, it becomes loyalty, it becomes the decision to keep communicating instead of walking away at the first sign of difficulty. And I want that with you. I want the real version of us. I want the conversations that last longer than expected. I want the laughter that comes from things nobody else would understand. I want the quiet moments where we don't need to say anything. I want the days when everything goes perfectly, and I want the days when nothing goes according to plan. Because those ordinary moments are where a real life is built. I don't want to fall in love with an imaginary version of you. I want to know you, really know you. I want to understand what makes you happy, what makes you nervous, what you dream about when nobody is watching, what you need when you're struggling, and what makes you feel truly appreciated. And I want you to know me the same way. Not the version of me that looks confident all the time, not the version that has every answer, the real version, the person who sometimes doubts, sometimes struggles, sometimes gets things wrong, but keeps moving forward, because maybe that's what makes this connection different. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy of something beautiful. We just have to be honest enough to grow. And if we can do that together, then I believe we can build something much stronger than a relationship based on appearances. We can build trust. We can build friendship. We can build respect. We can build a future where neither of us has to hide behind perfection. So no, I didn't find someone without flaws. I found someone whose flaws don't make me want to leave. They make me want to understand. I found someone who reminds me that love isn't about finding a flawless person. It's about finding someone real enough to love honestly, strong enough to grow with you, and brave enough to stay when life stops being easy. I didn't find perfection. I found you, and I would choose something real with you over something perfect with anyone else, every single time. And maybe that's why finding you changed more than my feelings. You changed the way I see love, and somehow you changed the way I see life itself. Before you, I thought love was mostly about emotion, about chemistry, attraction, excitement, and those moments when everything feels effortless. I thought love was something you felt when circumstances were right, But you taught me something different. You showed me that love is also a way of seeing the world. It's waking up and realizing that your life isn't only about what you can accomplish for yourself. It's understanding that success feels different when there is someone you genuinely want to share it with. It's realizing that the future becomes more meaningful when you have someone whose happiness matters to you as much as your own. You changed that perspective without demanding that I change. You simply became part of my life, and slowly, my priorities began to shift. I started paying more attention to the small things: a conversation, a moment of silence, a simple message, a laugh at the end of a difficult day. I realized that some of the most valuable moments in life don't look impressive from the outside. They simply feel important when you're living them. And that changed me. I started understanding that life isn't only measured by achievements. It's also measured by the people you love, the trust you build, the memories you create, and the peace you feel when you know you're walking in the right direction. You made me want more than success. You made me want meaning. And there is a difference. Successes can tell you how far you've gone. Meaning tells you why you're going. Before you, I could focus on the destination. I could think about goals, plans, ambitions, and everything I wanted to accomplish. But now, I think more about who I want beside me while I'm getting there. Because what good is reaching a beautiful destination if you have nobody you genuinely want to share it with? That question changed something inside me. You made me understand that love shouldn't make you smaller. It should make you more courageous. The right connection doesn't take away your ambition. It gives your ambition a deeper purpose. It makes you want to become stronger, wiser, more patient, and more responsible. Not because you have to prove something, but because someone matters enough to inspire your growth. That is what you did for me. You made me look at my own weaknesses differently. Instead of being ashamed of everything I still need to improve, I started seeing growth as part of the journey. I realized I don't have to have everything figured out today. I just have to be willing to keep becoming better. And I want to do that with you. I want us to grow individually while growing together. I want us to encourage each other when the other person feels uncertain. I want us to celebrate each other when something finally works after countless attempts. I want us to be honest when something isn't right. I want us to have the courage to communicate instead of assuming. Because now I understand that love isn't about avoiding every difficult moment. It's about knowing that difficult moments don't have to destroy something meaningful. You changed my definition of strength. I used to think strength meant handling everything alone. Now I understand that sometimes strength means allowing someone you trust to stand beside you. It means saying, I don't know. It means saying, I need you. It means admitting, I was wrong. And it means being brave enough to stay present when walking away would be easier. That is the kind of love I want. Not a love that exists only when life is comfortable, but one that becomes stronger when life tests us. And perhaps the greatest thing you changed is my view of the future. Before, the future was something I had to conquer. Now, it feels like something I want to build. There's a difference. I don't just want to know what I can achieve. I want to know what we can create. I don't just want a life that looks successful. I want a life that feels meaningful. And if you're part of that future, then every challenge becomes another problem we can solve. Every setback becomes another lesson, and every beautiful moment becomes another memory we can keep. You didn't simply change the way I love. You changed the way I live. You reminded me that the greatest future isn't necessarily the one with the most achievements. It's the one filled with purpose, trust, growth, and someone worth coming home to. You changed the way I see love and life, and now I don't just want to build a successful future. I want to build a meaningful one with you in it, and maybe that is one of the greatest gifts you've given me. With you, I don't feel like I have to pretend. I don't have to walk into every conversation with the perfect answer. I don't have to act like I have everything figured out. I don't have to hide the parts of myself that are still growing. I can simply be me. And that sounds simple, but it isn't. Because somewhere along the way, many of us learn to become versions of ourselves that other people will accept. We learn what to say, how to behave, what emotions to hide, and what weaknesses we should never reveal. We become good at looking strong even when we're exhausted. We become good at saying, I'm fine, when there are 100 things happening inside us. We build these versions of ourselves because we're afraid that the real version might not be enough. But with you, something feels different. I don't feel like I'm being evaluated. I feel understood. And there is an enormous difference between being admired and being understood. Someone can admire your achievements without knowing your struggles. Someone can be impressed by your confidence without knowing how many times you questioned yourself. Someone can love the image you present while never really knowing the person behind it. But you make me feel like I can put the image down. I can breathe. I can talk about the things that scare me. I can admit when I'm uncertain. I can tell you when something hurts. I can share an idea that might sound impossible to everyone else and still feel safe saying it because I know you're listening to understand, not simply to judge. That kind of connection is rare, and I don't want to take it for granted because when someone gives you the freedom to be yourself, you begin to discover parts of yourself you had forgotten. You become more honest, more open, more courageous. You start realizing that vulnerability isn't weakness. Sometimes vulnerability is the highest form of confidence because it means you trust someone enough to let them see the truth. And I want you to see the truth, not just the best moments, not just the confidence, not just the ambition. I want you to see the person behind all of it, the person who has questions, the person who sometimes needs reassurance, the person who makes mistakes, the person who can be stubborn, the person who is still learning how to become better. Because I don't want our connection to be built around two perfect characters pretending to have perfect lives. I want it to be built around two real people who are willing to understand each other. That means there will be moments when we disagree. There will be days when we misunderstand each other. There will be times when one of us needs space and times when one of us needs closeness. But if we can talk honestly, listen carefully, and remember that we are on the same side, then those moments don't have to become walls between us. They can become bridges. That's what I want with you. I want a relationship where we can tell each other the truth without fear, where we can say, that hurt me, without turning it into a war, where we can say, I was wrong, without feeling defeated, where we can say, I need you, without feeling weak, where we can say, I don't know what happens next, and still believe that we can figure it out together, because I don't need you to make me look perfect. I need you to know me, and I want to know you, not the version you show the world when everything is going well, but the version that appears when you're tired, worried, uncertain, excited, emotional, hopeful, or simply quiet. I want to know what makes you laugh when nobody else understands why it's funny. I want to know what dreams you're afraid to say out loud. I want to know what makes you feel safe. I want to know what makes you feel appreciated. And I want you to know that you never have to become someone else to earn my love. You don't have to perform. You don't have to compete. You don't have to prove your worth. Just be real. Because if I have truly found you, then I don't want a perfect version of you. I want you. And if you can give me the same freedom to be myself, then maybe we can create something far more powerful than a relationship built on appearances. We can create a place where both of us can breathe, grow, fail, learn, dream, and become better without losing ourselves along the way. Because the greatest kind of love isn't the love that makes you pretend to be perfect. It's the love that makes you feel safe enough to finally be completely yourself. And when you finally find a connection where you can be completely yourself, something inside you changes. You stop wondering whether there is something better waiting somewhere else. You stop comparing what you have to what you might find. You stop looking through every open door, wondering if another person could somehow make your life more complete. Because at some point, searching has to end, and for me, that moment is here. I'm not looking for someone else anymore. My heart has chosen you. That doesn't mean I believe love is effortless. It doesn't mean I think every day will be perfect or that we will never disagree. It means something much deeper. It means that after seeing what the world has to offer, after experiencing uncertainty, disappointment, and all the reasons people learn to protect their hearts, I know what I value now. I value something real. I value trust. I value loyalty. I value honesty. I value the feeling of knowing that the person standing beside me isn't there because everything is convenient, but because they genuinely want to be there. And that is what makes my choice meaningful. I'm not choosing you because I believe there are no other people in the world. Of course, there are millions of people. There will always be someone who looks different, thinks differently, or offers something I haven't experienced. But love was never supposed to be an endless search for the most impressive option. At some point, you meet someone who makes you stop searching. Someone who makes you realize that what you were looking for wasn't a perfect person. You were looking for a connection worth protecting. That's what you became for me. You became someone I don't want to replace, someone I don't want to compare, someone I don't want to keep questioning. I want to build. I want to invest my time, my patience, my attention, and my heart into what we have. Because choosing someone isn't just about saying, I love you when everything feels good. Choosing someone means saying, I'm still here when life becomes complicated. It means listening when communication gets difficult. It means remembering why you fell in love when emotions temporarily become confusing. It means giving each other room to grow without interpreting growth as distance. It means protecting trust because you understand how difficult it is to rebuild once it has been broken. That is the kind of choice I want to make every day. Not because I'm trapped, not because I'm afraid of being alone, but because I have freedom. And with that freedom, I still choose you. That distinction matters. I don't want to stay because I have nowhere else to go. I want to stay because there is nowhere else I would rather be. I want you to know that my commitment isn't based on fear. It's based on clarity. I've seen enough to understand what matters. I've learned enough to know what I don't want. And I've felt enough to recognize what I do. I want the person who can laugh with me when life is good and sit beside me when life is difficult. I want the person who challenges me to become better without making me feel like I'm never enough. I want the person who can disagree with me without becoming my enemy. I want the person who understands that love is not about controlling another person's life. It's about respecting their individuality while choosing to walk beside them. And I want to give you that same freedom. I don't want to own your heart. I want to earn it, protect it, and continue deserving it. Because the beautiful thing about choosing someone is that the choice can become more meaningful every day. Today, I choose you. Tomorrow, I want to choose you again. Years from now, when life has changed us in ways we cannot predict, I want to look at you and still recognize the person who made me stop searching. I want to remember this feeling. Not because everything remained the same, but because we grew together without losing the reason we began. So no, I'm not looking around anymore. I'm not wondering who else might be out there. I'm not measuring you against some imaginary perfect person. I know what I found. I know what it means to me, and I know what I want to do with it. I'm not looking for someone else anymore. because my heart has already found its direction, and every road I choose from here leads back to you. And when you know who you want beside you, love stops being only about what you feel today. It starts becoming about what you're willing to build tomorrow. That's where my mind goes when I think about you. I don't just want to tell you how much you mean to me. I want my actions to prove it. I want the future we create to become evidence of everything I feel right now, because words are powerful, but they are only the beginning. I can tell you that I care about you. I can promise that I'll be loyal. I can say that I'll always support you. But eventually, those words have to become decisions. They have to become patience when things are difficult, honesty when the truth is uncomfortable, and consistency when nobody is watching. That is the kind of future I want to build with you. Not a perfect future, a real one. A future where we have dreams that excite us and challenges that test us. A future where we celebrate achievements, but also learn from failures. A future where we can look back one day and say, we built this together. I want to build something where you never have to question whether you matter to me. I want you to see it in the way I listen to you, in the way I remember the things that matter to you, in the way I support your dreams instead of expecting you to abandon them for mine, in the way I stand beside you when things become uncertain. Because loving someone doesn't mean asking them to become part of your life while forgetting their own identity. It means creating a life where both people can grow. I want you to have dreams that belong completely to you. I want you to become everything you are capable of becoming. And I want to be the person cheering for you when you reach places you once thought were impossible. And I want the same from you. I want us to challenge each other, to make each other think bigger, to remind each other that one difficult day doesn't define an entire future, because life will test us. There will be unexpected problems. Plans will change. Opportunities will disappear. Things we believed were certain may suddenly become uncertain. But I don't want our relationship to depend on everything going according to plan. I want it to depend on our ability to adapt together. If the road changes, we change the plan. If something breaks, we repair it. If we make a mistake, we learn. If one of us falls, the other reaches out a hand. That is what building a future means to me. It isn't about having every detail figured out. It's about knowing who you want beside you while you figure it out. And I want you beside me. I want the ordinary moments too. The mornings when we're tired, the evenings when we have nothing planned, the conversations that begin with something small and somehow become hours long, the celebrations, the quiet days, the difficult days, the moments when we look at each other and realize we've made it through something we once thought might break us. Those moments matter, because one day, when we look back, our life won't be defined by one dramatic moment. It will be made from thousands of small choices, choosing honesty, choosing patience, choosing forgiveness, choosing communication, choosing loyalty, choosing each other. That's what I want to give you. A future where love isn't just something we talk about, but something we practice. A future where your happiness matters to me, where your peace matters to me, where your dreams matter to me, and where you never have to wonder whether I'm still committed when life gets complicated. I want my actions to answer that question. I want the life we build to say everything my words could never fully express, because if you truly mean this much to me, then I shouldn't have to convince you with promises alone. I should be able to show you, day after day, year after year, choice after choice, and maybe that is the greatest promise I can make. Not that life will always be easy, but that I will keep showing up with honesty, effort, loyalty, and love. I don't just want to tell you that you are my future. I want to build a future so beautiful, so honest, and so real that every part of it proves exactly how much you mean to me. And after everything we've talked about, I think I've finally reached the simplest truth of all. I found you. But finding you was never supposed to be the end of the story. It was the beginning. Because there is a difference between discovering someone and choosing someone. You can meet a person unexpectedly. You can feel an incredible connection. You can experience that moment when everything suddenly feels different. But what happens after that moment is what truly matters. And now, I choose you. Not just today. Every day, I choose you when life feels easy, and I choose you when life becomes difficult. I choose you when we're laughing together, and I choose you when we need to have a serious conversation. I choose you when everything is going according to plan, and I choose you when the future suddenly looks uncertain. Because real love cannot depend only on perfect circumstances. There will be days when we are tired. There will be moments when we misunderstand each other. There will be times when one of us needs patience, reassurance, or simply someone willing to listen. And on those days, I still want to choose you. Not because I expect perfection from us, but because I believe what we have is worth the effort required to protect it. That is what choosing someone really means. It means remembering their value when emotions become complicated. It means communicating instead of disappearing. It means asking questions instead of making assumptions. It means forgiving without forgetting the lessons. It means growing without growing apart. It means looking at the person beside you and realizing that this relationship deserves your attention, your honesty, and your effort. I want that kind of love with you. A love that doesn't simply exist when we feel inspired. A love that becomes stronger through consistency, because anyone can make a promise in a beautiful moment. The real question is, what happens months or years later? Do we still listen? Do we still respect each other? Do we still make time? Do we still protect the trust we built? Do we still remember why we chose each other in the first place? I want the answer to be yes, again and again, because I don't want to wake up one day and realize we assumed love would take care of itself. Love needs attention, dreams need action, trust needs honesty, and relationships need two people willing to keep showing up. So if I tell you that I choose you, I want you to understand what I mean. I choose your real self, not some imaginary perfect version. I choose the person you are today. While believing in the person you are becoming, I choose your dreams. I choose your imperfections. I choose your laughter. I choose your quiet moments. I choose the conversations we haven't had yet. I choose the memories we haven't created. I choose the future we haven't seen. And I choose to keep discovering you because I know that finding someone doesn't mean you suddenly know everything about them. It means you have been given the privilege of continuing to learn. There will always be more to understand, more stories to hear, more dreams to discover, more moments to experience, and I want to be there for them. When we look back years from now, I don't want us to remember only the beginning. I want us to remember everything that came after, the difficult moments we survived, the dreams we achieved, the mistakes we learned from, the nights we stayed up talking, the ordinary mornings that somehow became precious, the moments when we could have given up but decided to keep going. That is the life I want. Not a love story that sounds perfect from the outside, a love story that feels real from the inside, because I finally found you, and now I understand something I didn't understand before. Finding the right person is beautiful, but continuing to choose that person is where love becomes powerful. So wherever life takes us, whatever challenges appear, whatever changes come with time, I want you to remember one thing. You were never just someone I happened to find. You became someone I decided to build with, someone I decided to trust, someone I decided to grow beside, someone I decided to keep choosing. And if I have the chance to choose again tomorrow, and the day after that, And every day that follows, I already know what my answer will be. I finally found you, and from this moment forward, I don't just want to love you. I want to choose you, protect you, grow with you, and build a lifetime that proves I never stopped choosing you.